Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans, the best damn movie-related show on the internet. I'm your host. My name is John Campia, and why am I hosting? Because Chris Lee Kennedy was here and got sick when she got here and then had to go. So Mr. Captain Green Pants, I'm going to fill in for as host today. So I want to introduce those people who are joining me. First of all, sitting to my right is entertainment correspondent for AMC Movie News. Sorry, I just ate something before. Sorry about that. It's Erin Darling. Erin?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to be here.
I just had a cupcake and there was like a crumb left in my throat, of course. Sitting next to her is the waste of space. You know what I mean if you saw yesterday's show. Writer-director, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, how you doing?
My triumphant return. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen?
The day after just yesterday. All right, folks. Well, we are going to get started with this. Last night, a brand new full-length trailer for the upcoming Transformers Age of Extinction hit the web, along with this new character poster of Optimus Prime for the movie. Transformers Age of Extinction hits AMC theaters everywhere on June 27th. John, what do you think of the new trailer? Well, John, I watched, this trailer dropped yesterday. Actually, I wasn't expecting this new trailer yet. And it's kind of funny because I was actually on a conference call last night, or like in the late afternoon. And then I've got my laptop on my lap looking at something else, and my email thing bings, and it's a notification from Paramount saying, hey, we just launched a new trailer. I'm like, what? And then I'm trying to rush the people off the conference call. Okay, yeah, that's all really good. Can I go now? Okay, no, you have something more to talk about? I want to go because I wanted to go watch the trailer. Watch trailer. Okay, look. Before I say anything about the trailer, I'll preface by saying this. Most people know I really liked the first Transformers movie. I really did. As much as I liked the first Transformers movie, that equals my disdain for Transformers 2 and 3. I really didn't like Transformers 2 and 3. And I allow myself, every new Transformers movie, to feel optimism about it. But I've been saying for about 3 months now, I've got a good feeling about this Transformers movie, and I still do. I gotta tell you, I like this trailer. I like this trailer. I like the first little shot of it when it says, "Remember Chicago." And Transformers purists, I'm sure, are geeking out and wetting their underwear all around the world today, because when they are hauling in the truck at first, everybody's freaking out because it's a Peterbilt truck. It's the flat-faced truck, which is, of course, the traditional Optimus Prime. And I know a lot of people were upset when they went with the long-nosed truck and in the other films, so they're going to be excited about that. Very well-paced trailer. But we do have to keep in mind, too, I also lost my mind over the Transformers 3 trailer. I thought the Transformers 3 trailer was amazing, and I ended up not liking the film at all. So I'm going to temper my enthusiasm here. But I've said all along, I've liked the look of this film. Marky Mark is an upgrade to Shia LaBeouf. No disrespect to Shia either, because, you know, when Steven Spielberg says you're a great actor, you've got something going for you. So no disrespect to Shia, but I think Mark Wahlberg feels like he fits in this world a little bit more. And there's just several really good moments, but instead of me going through the whole thing, Erin, what about you? You saw the trailer. What did you think about it?
I really liked this trailer, and never have I been excited for the 4th installment of a movie franchise ever, I think. But this looks really cool, and I like the idea that they're coming back with a new cast, and I love the additions to this cast. I think Mark Wahlberg is a really good fit. I think he's amazing in everything he's done recently, and I love the idea that if you're going to change the franchise up a little bit and bring in a new cast, why not use the approach that they're doing right now, where it's in the future and they're discovering new things, and I think that's really, really interesting. I love the way they're going with this.
Schnepp?
Yeah, I like the line, I think we found a Transformer. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I just watched the trailer a few minutes ago, and I loved it. You know, and I'm one of the people who, I didn't watch Transformers, so when John was going off about the snub nose versus, I was like, man, you're getting really sweaty. That's because you love Transformers. To me, it was just a truck. So, but this trailer, I specifically liked it because I could see everything. I think a lot of the other Transformers movies were like so quick, you're like, I can't even tell what's happening. The up-close kind of action that sometimes happens in Kung Fu films happened to me with the robots fighting. There's just too many quick cuts. And in this, every single scene was crisp and clear and delineated and looked awesome. So I'm really looking forward to it. Mark Wahlberg should wear a bag on his head that says, I'll always be famous. That's what I
You know, for those people, too, this was an interesting shot. If you saw the original animated Transformers movie, the one where they so ridiculously killed off all of our favorite Autobots in the first 5 minutes of the film to make room for the new toys. But if you remember that film, Unicron when he's approaching that planet at the opening, and then you see all the stuff from the planet start to get sucked up into Unicron. Well, there's a shot very reminiscent of that in this trailer when that giant ship, who may indeed be Unicron, if that's the case, then Unicron ain't going to be a big, giant, transforming planet, which is probably the better way to do it if you're going to do it in a live-action film. He's a giant ship, and you see all the stuff start to get sucked up in there, so fans of the original Transformers animated movie probably noticed that and got really freaked out about it. And I love that line. It's like, don't you get it? We don't need you anymore. And then 5 seconds later, he's, oh my God! Like, that was a really nice thing. I gotta tell you, the action looked crisp, Transformers look good. I think the human part of the story is gonna be better than the other ones. Fingers crossed. But once again, I really loved the trailers to Transformers 2, and I really loved the trailers for Transformers 3, and I hated both of those films. So, but I don't care. I'm gonna be enthusiastic. I'm excited.
Well,
Side note, I also really like seeing Mark Wahlberg as a dad. I like him playing
Yeah,
a
I
father
mentioned that on the
figure.
show the other day too. It's really because you'd see Wahlberg and then you'd see that girl and you're thinking, oh, there's Wahlberg's love interest.
Love interest, exactly.
But no, he's playing the dad, which is actually pretty cool.
I actually liked Transformers 3 more than Transformers 1 and 2. So it's hard to tell, like, you know, what this will be, except that the trailer's great. I know that. We all agree with that, you know.
All right, well, listen, about once every 2 weeks, we try to take one of the shows and really focus on the mailbag questions, because you guys send us like 1,000 email questions every single week, and we only have time to usually in a show answer just a couple of them. So we thought today we were just focused on mailbag, but then the Transformers trailer dropped, so we had to talk about that. But listen, if you've ever got a topic or a question you'd like us to bring up on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. And today we're going to take a whole bunch of questions, but we are also going to leave a little bit of time at the end of the show. So if you're watching us live, we do this show live every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're watching us live and you want to throw in a couple questions, you can tweet some live questions to us at AMC Movie News. I'll have a tweet board open in front of me, and I can watch the stream, and we'll get to those at the end of the show. But for now, we got some mailbag questions. And the first mailbag question today comes to us from Brad Lamberson, who writes, "Hey John, love the show. I have one big question on my mind. In the new Godzilla movie or future sequels, do you think we will see some of our favorite classic monsters reborn, such as Mothra, Rodan, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Gigan, King Ghidorah, Ghidra, Mechagodzilla, etc.? Or if Godzilla is a hit, maybe some of the other Toho monsters getting their own standalone films, building a new Godzilla universe. Thanks, and keep up the great work." Schnapp, what do you think? Are we going to see some of these other classic monsters?
You know, I don't know if we'll see the actual classic monsters. Originally, when I saw the trailer, I was like, I bet that's Rodan. And some, you know, this is a bit of a spoiler, but some of the toys, advanced toy shots came out, and they revealed that it is not any of those guys. None of those guys are in it. But I would love to see Ghidra introduced. And who's to say that they're not going to introduce them? All I know right now is from the toys that Godzilla is going to be fighting this kind of really cool-looking other monster that they haven't named yet, but it's not Rodan. But why wouldn't they introduce all these other characters? Why wouldn't they introduce Monster Zero, which is Ghidra? I think opening up that franchise to making more Godzilla movies is exactly what all of us really want to see. So I certainly hope they do.
Aaron?
I want to see Mechagodzilla happen.
Yeah.
And they could do, I mean, I wouldn't hate it if you got a standalone film, and I wouldn't hate it if it was a Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla movie, aka Pacific Rim 2. I'd be totally okay with all those things happening. I would love to see that character in that universe now that it's opening up.
We do have to keep something in mind, though, about when toys come out. A lot of times, the toys aren't really an indicator about what's happening in the movie. Because remember, when Iron Man 3 was coming out, they had one of the big toys that came out was the Iron Man space Iron Man suit, and that wasn't in the movie at all. So, yeah, I saw those toys too. But remember, you're the one who pointed this out to me. In that Godzilla trailer, the most recent one, where there is that scene where all of a sudden these fighter jets start flying outside. Something's knocking them out of the sky. Maybe?
I don't. The reason I'm saying I don't think so is because in that Godzilla trailer they showed this foot coming down,
right?
And in that toy, the creature has that same foot,
right?
So you know what? who's to say? But I certainly do hope that they do introduce at least Mothra, or like they show a couple of eggs, or they show Ghidra, or they show them building a robot Godzilla. Anything that's like, check it out, the next one's going to have this. So.
Yeah, the building, this is sound ridiculous to say about a giant lizard monster attacking the Earth, but the building a giant robot seems outside of because it seems like this Godzilla movie is happening within our reality.
Yeah.
And in our reality, we can't build a 70-story tall giant fighting robot. So probably not a Mecha Godzilla thing. All right, let's move on to the next question. The next question today comes to us from Marco K, who writes, "Hello AMC, your show is awesome. I really liked Italian Job, and when I watched it in 2003. Then I heard that a sequel is coming. It was eventually postponed a couple of times, so now I'm wondering, is that still happening?" Well, Marco, the sequel you're talking about was going to be called The Brazilian Job. And around 2005, 2006, all the cast said they wanted, we've got a script in development. And the producer's saying, we almost done with the script. It's going to be happening in Brazil. It's going to take all the place from Rio to here, and here. And everything seemed to be a go. And they said one of the challenges was all the actors in that film were kind of blowing up and becoming big and successful. Okay. And then in 2008, again, the producer came out and said, yep, everything's happening. And then in 2010, actors like Jason Statham and Seth Green were saying, nah, it ain't happening. It's not going to happen. And I've seen nothing since then to suggest that it's going to happen. It would be really tough to pull off now or 11 years later. I think there was a window when you could have done a Brazilian Job. I didn't love the Italian Job, but I liked it because I'm a sucker for heist films. And I think you could have done a sequel to it. Mm-hmm. But that window was in 2005 to 2008, I think was the window. At this point, I think it's too late. It doesn't sound like any of the casting is going to happen either. Schnapp, would you have been up for a Brazilian Job?
Sure. A couple years ago, you're right. I mean, I think at this point they should just at least wait 8 more years and do like the 20th anniversary of the Italian Job. Or, I mean, I just don't see it happening now. It would seem weird to me.
Aaron?
I mean, I think that there was talks about it back in 2010 to bring the Brazilian Job actually to the big screen, but I think that they could make this movie with a different cast. I mean, in this case, it's not a remake of a movie, so I think it would be a good opportunity to try something different if they really wanted to make it.
That's a good idea, because I mean, hey, that was the Italian Job. Here's a whole new crew doing the Brazilian Job.
Right.
You could just, and here's the Rio de Janeiro Job.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Rui Piera writes, "Hey AMC crew, now that the Oscars are over, I wanted to know why there is still so much talk about Leo DiCaprio not winning the Oscar, when clearly there were better people that deserved it more. But no one is talking about Fassbender. But for me, Fassbender was the one that deserved the Oscar, because while Leo already had half of his performance, Leto, I should say, not Leo, already had half of his performance made up in the makeup room. Fassbender was everything on screen." Well, there are really 2 parts to your question here. Let's address the first one first about Leonardo DiCaprio, why people start talking about him. I don't know why people are still talking about the Leonardo DiCaprio thing. I am amazed and frustrated, actually, seeing all these headlines on Facebook and all over the place saying, "We examine why Leo didn't win the Oscar this year." And people asking, what's behind Leo not winning? Here's why. I'm going to give you the deepest, darkest secrets of the universe. Because he didn't give the best performance this year. That's why. I mean, it starts and ends there. Look, I love Leo DiCaprio's performance in Wolf of Wall Street. He was fantastic. But on my scorecard, I didn't even have him in the top 3. I had Chiwetel Ejiofor, Matthew McConaughey, and Bruce Dern ahead of him. I mean, so while it was a magnificent performance, it's just unfortunate for Leo that there happened to be a couple of better performances this year, and he didn't win. There's no other mystery to it than that. There's no deep, resonating kind of, what's the systemic cause of Leo? It's just that simple. It really is. As far as the second part of your question, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. About half of Jared Leto's performance was done in the makeup room. That's bull. It's total bull. You can put makeup on anybody and anything. You then have to give a performance in that and make it believable and right and endearing and all the things that Jared Leto did. You can put makeup on. You can put that same makeup on me. I'm not getting an Academy Award nomination. Like, not close. It doesn't, this whole mythology out there that, it was just the makeup, or, the Matthew McConaughey thing just because he lost weight. No, because he lost weight, great, but now he has to give the performance. You put the makeup on him, fine. He still has to give the performance, and he did do the performance. It takes nothing away from it whatsoever. Any thought to the contrary is pure myth. Anyway, Schnepp, how do you see both of those things, the Leo thing and the makeup winning the Oscar?
The Leo thing, I have to agree with you. It's like he did an incredible performance. That's why he's one of the 5 Oscar-nominated performances of the year. And it was like a real big battle as far as like, who's going to win. But he was in there of the top 5. But yeah, I mean, obviously I was going for the top 2, Matthew McConaughey or Chiwetel. So, I mean, and Leo was in there, but I mean, that's just the case. So for Fassbender versus Jared Leto, I was rooting for Fassbender. I think he's an incredible actor. He's, he deserved the Oscar. I think it swayed more towards Leto simply because Leto had a more sympathetic role. So as far as the characters that they were portraying, Fassbender was a hateful, evil man, relentlessly evil, horrifying, a horrible person. Obviously, that's not who Fassbender is. We've seen him perform as Magneto, as the David character from Prometheus, and a ton of different roles. I mean, he was even in 300. So it's like he's played so many different characters. He's an incredible actor. He's actually proven himself above and beyond Jared Leto's ability of acting. But in this case, these two films, if you just look at them individually, I think the reason Leto won a little bit over Fassbender is just because it was a bit more sympathetically played. It was really well played, well acted, but also the character, you cared more about that character and their plight in that 90-minute film than you did for this evil, evil slave master, even though his performance was incredible.
They did give the Best Supporting Actor Academy Award, though, to The Jew Hunter a couple of years ago with Christoph Waltz. So, I mean, that was his character in Inglourious Bastards. They did give it to him.
I know, but it was infused with humor, a bit of levity. I mean, it's like it wasn't just outright evil. I think Michael Fassbender's character in 12 Years a Slave is pure evil. I mean, I cannot imagine a worse person to be in control of your life,
Aaron?
Well, the way I see it is for Leo, he's an extremely talented actor. He's always recognized during award season for nearly every film he participates in. And this year just wasn't his year. He will have his day. I'm sure that he will definitely earn an actual Oscar at some point in his career. I'm not surprised it didn't happen, though, for The Wolf of Wall Street. In terms of supporting actor, for me, it could have gone either way. I thought that they both gave amazing performances. Leto, as well as Fassbender, they were so incredible. They just lit up the screen.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't feel strongly about either actor winning that category, but I don't think that has anything to do with the makeup. And I don't think that role was made in the makeup chair.
To me, it was very, very close. I actually did pick Jared to win, but it's one of those picks where Fassbender won. I got no problem with that. Like it was that close, and that's why I don't think you're hearing a lot of controversy over it, as opposed to, I don't know, if Pauly Shore was also nominated out of nowhere and they gave it to him over those guys. So it's not a lot of controversy, but it's such great performances, and tragically, so few people have seen 12 Years a Slave and Dallas Buyers Club.
Right,
so
that's the tragic part.
Because you're missing out 2 incredible performances. All right, let's move on to the next question today. The next one comes to us from David Bonilla, who writes, "Hello, I love the show and keep up the good work." Thank you so much, David. I was wondering what Disney's next movie would be with Jennifer Lee. She did an amazing job with Wreck-It Ralph and Frozen. When, if ever, will we see her next Disney film in development? Great job, and bring on the filthy. For those of you who don't know what David's talking about, Jennifer Lee is actually the director of Frozen, and she won, and she was also the screenwriter for Wreck-It Ralph. She's done amazing work, because I love Wreck-It Ralph. To me, robbed of an Academy Award for Best Animated Film that year. Absolutely robbed from another Disney film. She is incredible. As of right now, she has nothing officially lined up. I'm sure in the back halls of Disney they know what she's doing next, and they would be a fool not to use her again and use her soon. But as of right now, there's nothing official lined up for her. I would like to see her do another fantasy animated, maybe do 1 or 2 more of these where she's doing so well, and then maybe see her do some live action stuff, like Brad Bird kind of then extended himself. But I love what she did with Frozen. I love what she did with Wreck-It Ralph. So you will hear a lot more from Jennifer Lee. Anyway, Aaron, what do you think?
Well, I think both of these projects could turn out to be franchises. I think that there could be a sequel for Frozen or Wreck-It Ralph, but I would love to see her delve into something more original, especially because she is a writer and director. Not only that, but she's also Disney's first female director at their animation studios. And so I'd love to see her continue on creating new original content other than going the sequel route, although I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. And yeah, girl power. I think this is awesome.
It would be great if they franchise anything, especially Frozen. I don't think they're going to do a sequel to Frozen, but they did, because if they do, that would mean you would have 2 ongoing animated successful franchises being led currently by female directors. You'd have Jennifer in Frozen, and I'm forgetting her name, who directs the Kung Fu Panda films. But that would be amazing to have 2 female directors leading stuff. Anyway, Schnepp, your thoughts?
Yeah, I would like to see what she's doing next. She hasn't announced it, has been put in the trades, but I'm sure Disney has her locked down on a contract, and she's probably writing 2 movies and getting ready to direct another film. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to see what she's going to put out in the next few years.
All right, the next question comes to us from Paul Erdman, who writes, "Hey, sons and daughters of AMC, long time, first time, love the show." Thank you so much, Paul. My question is for you is, do you think that because of the great success and the near flawless execution of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it makes it difficult for other epic movies to find success because the bar has been risen and the audience expects higher quality movies for the same ticket price? Well, Paul, I don't think so. I think if anything, you know that old saying that a rising tide raises all ships? I think if anything, with Marvel and Disney putting out these great superhero films that they have, I think it just increases the appetite amongst the movie-going audience for great movies. I mean, look, people have wanted Disney films, or not Disney, they've wanted Warner Brothers, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, things for a long time. But we've seen the enthusiasm for those Warner Brother properties and the desire for those Warner Brother properties just reach a fever pitch the more and more Marvel films succeed. So the more Marvel films succeed, you hear that fan base crying out even more for that Wonder Woman movie, even more for that Cyborg movie, even more for the Flash and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's making it difficult. I think if anything, it's putting the pressure on studios to deliver and to put out more content because we clearly want it. So I don't know, Schnepp, how do you see it?
Yeah, and I also don't think it elevates via special effects like, oh, well, these guys just fought an alien coming from a wormhole. The next group has to fight an alien and a planet coming from a wormhole, and escalate it that way. I just think, yeah, it definitely increases the desire. I think more so for niche marketed characters that people aren't familiar with. I think that's where we're going to see a lot more exploratory films happening in the next 5-10 years. We're going to see, the Demon or the Creeper or Swamp Thing from Marvel. Constantine already has his own, television series, but I think people are going to take more chances with the DC characters in the filmic universe, but not Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Those are already taken care of by Zack Snyder in the larger picture. I think Marvel's doing that well with their Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., with Deathlock spin-offs and bringing Sif in. Maybe they'll have the Warriors 3 series on Asgard. I mean, the sky's kind of the limit as far as expanding with characters with Marvel. I mean, I'd love to see that continue happening. I don't know if it's going to escalate with special effects. It'll be more so the characters. So,
Aaron?
The way I see it is your average Marvel movie is fantastic. They've done a great job. But it's not that much better than an X-Men movie or any other action movie that we see, like a Nonstop or something like that that's out in theaters currently. What's elevating audience expectations are movies like Gravity. Movies that are developing different types of technology and ways to actually make movies and to expand and develop the art of filmmaking that I think is making people expect more when it comes to their prices and what they're spending at the box office. I think we want to see some crazy stuff like what we saw in Gravity.
All right, let's move on to the last mailbag question today. And for those of you who are watching us live, you can start tweeting your questions right now. So tweet your questions to us at AMC Movie News, and we'll pick out a few of those once we're done with this last mailbag question. And for now, we will go to the last mailbag question, which comes from Corey Gilchrist, who writes, "Hey guys, keep on rocking. My question is, do you think films should bring back putting credit titles before films like they did back in the day? And what about bringing back the intermission to change things up? I think some superhero films would benefit from an intermission." Well, Corey, a lot of films still do have big opening title sequences. I hate them. I really do. I don't like opening title sequences unless you're going to multitask them. So I remember, I think it was the Edward Norton Hulk thing we talked about recently. They used their opening credit title sequence to tell the origin story of this Hulk. which was a reboot from the last Hulk. So they told his origin story in just the opening credits. If you're going to have opening credits, I want them to multitask them and use them for something instead of just having us sit for 2 minutes and watch names flash by. Because personally, as a film fan, I'm not interested in that. As far as intermissions, no, it's not going to happen. Back in the old days, before any of our times, they sometimes would have intermissions halfway through a movie. And on one hand, you'd think, well, the movie theaters would like that because then people get up and go buy more popcorn and stuff like that. But really, what it does is it's squeezing the time in the theaters. Theaters like to be able to cram in as many screenings as they can. You start throwing in 10-minute intermissions and stuff like that. Suddenly now, if you got 10 theaters, that's 1,000 minutes, or 100 minutes, I should say, of non-being used screen time in their theater. That just won't work. And I think we're at the point now that I don't think most people want a thing. But what about you guys? What are your thoughts on both opening credits to movies and the possibility of having an intermission in films?
I think we've evolved past
We've
that.
evolved.
And I'm happy that we have evolved past that. And I like getting right to the meat of a story. I think if there's anything that should be lost in the editing room floor, it's exposition. And the way I see it, title cards before a movie are just exposition that can go at the end easily. In intermission, I don't want my movie-going experience to be broken up. I want to have the whole experience in its entirety, all together, and then leave the theater and be able to process it. But I don't want to have to think about two different parts of it, because for me, that's kind of jarring. I'd rather experience the whole thing.
Yeah, it takes you
together.
out of the film.
Yeah.
And it's just, we're going to stop the movie now for 10 minutes. It kind of takes you out of it, Schnepp.
Let me take a little break, a little intermission, if you will, to think about this question. Yeah, I agree. I've never been a fan of intermissions, even if it's a 2.5-hour movie. I mean, obviously, I don't think the filmmaker, unless they built it that way, where it's a suspenseful moment, they're tied to the train, like in the 1930s, intermission, before the person gets, run over. Yeah, so intermission, not so much in our day and age now. I don't think it's necessary, but I do love the title sequences. In fact, it's really hard to do now, like say a movie like Frozen that has like 500 CG animators. That would be a lot harder to put in the front of the film. But all the way up until the late 70s, early 80s, they used to actually run all of the titles, everyone's credits, in the beginning of the film with what you would call establishing shots of like, oh, here we are in San Francisco. We'll see some shots of the bridge. We'll see some city street shots. And then there's people's credits over these things. But then as you move into the story, it's slowly building you. Oh, now we're in a pharmacy. Now we see people shopping. Oh, look, now we're at the guy who's the pharmacist. I'm just saying you can start to intro a scenario and a world while still showing all the credits. I'm a big fan of that because I also like to just get the credits over with, as well as, I'm not a credit watcher. Like sometimes I am. If it's like a special effects film, I'd like to see which studios made what and who were the actors and the smaller supporting roles, things like that. But the other thing that is really fun about credit sequences that I love are like, use Superman, the movie, as an example. An exhilarating theme song, really cool credits, you're flying through outer space and then you land on Krypton. It's telling a story, but not like, someone talking or scenarios. It's more of like a feeling or an emotional, like even Star Wars, before you get that credit stretch, you have that, it's something that people get familiar with, especially with franchises. So for me to see a really cool title sequence, we've seen it in Iron Man where they show you this cool 3-minute title sequence, but now they save it for the end of the movie. Instead, it used to be the opening of the film, but you still end up getting it. I think James Bond is another example, as you really expect a really cool song and really cool visuals to come with all of the people's name credits in every James Bond franchise opening sequence. You have the opening moment, and then it goes right into the song. So I think specifically especially for franchises, the opening credit sequence and title sequence are really important. And it's a movie by movie, case is what I'd say. But I love them. So.
All right, folks. Well, we've got just a couple of minutes left. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Twitter stream, take some of your questions. We're going to answer these rapid fire style. So the first one we're going to take is from DeAndre A, who just tweeted in, question, could we see Miles Morales in the next Spider-Man franchise when the current one is over instead of Peter Parker? The answer to that question is absolutely not going to happen. The general movie-going audience is only interested in a Bruce Wayne Batman. They're not interested in Guy Dajin as Batman. And for the most part, the general movie-going audience, 99% of people, when you say Spider-Man, they think Peter Parker, so we're not going to see Miles Morales. Wouldn't make sense for the studio. Your guys' thoughts?
I agree.
Schnepp?
You never know. is what I would say. With Sony trying to do a lot of different spin-offs, I wouldn't be surprised if you'd see Miles Morales, instead of being Spider-Man, as the Scarlet Spider. Instead of introducing that whole clone saga and Ben Reilly, they could do spin-offs and give different characters who are in the Marvel comics known as Spider-Man their own identity as a Spider-Man helper or a different kind of version of Spider-Man. I wouldn't be surprised to see that.
All right, next question comes from, where did it go? Michael Ray Miller, who asks, what do you think, including Captain America, will be the comic book movie of 2014, Guardians of the Galaxy? What do you guys think?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, for this year?
Yeah, 2014.
Or possibly The Amazing Spider-Man 2, because that trailer looks amazing.
Yeah.
To me, it's a very close second for The Amazing
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2.
I would tie it because since I haven't seen either of them, I would say it's either Amazing Spider-Man 2 or Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm excited for both of those.
Okay.
And Captain America, I'll be honest, it's like all of those movies look really great, and they can all be fantastically amazing. So it's open book.
Let's see. Raymond G asked, do you ever see Tom Cruise doing a comic book movie? Maybe Doctor Strange with the question. I don't think it's going to happen. You guys?
I would love to see him in a comic book movie if he ever wanted to go that route. But
Yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't like it. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm
Which
not sure
actor?
in his career
Tom
if he would
Cruise.
be.
Tom Cruise? Boy. Not at this point, I don't think.
Okay. Let's see. Sorry, the Twitter stream is going by really. Okay, why do comedic roles rarely get nominated for lead roles? Like Simon Pegg, I thought was spectacular in World's End, but no love. Well, Simon Pegg didn't deserve an Oscar nomination for World's End. I like World's End very much, but boy, comedic roles, I mean, that's a question that gets raised up a lot. I think a lot of the times is because comedic roles are outside of reality in many ways in comedy films. Like, I remember Dustin Hoffman, I believe, got nominated for Best Actor for Tootsie.
Tootsie, right.
That's the most notable comedic role.
But that was more like a satire. It wasn't like a, crushing eggs on each other's face. It was just a regular
Right,
film
yeah.
that had comedic moments. So,
Aaron, what do you think?
Well, I mean, if you look at this year, technically Wolf of Wall Street is a comedy. So I don't think that really is true, that people aren't really recognized for what is defined as comedy.
Well, at least
but
the Golden
it really
Globes
does,
called it a comedy.
It does depend
Yeah.
on what is defined as a comedy and what they choose, how they choose to categorize the movies. But I also think it takes a certain type of actor, though, in able to kind of embody a successful comedic role. I think there's also a dark side too, and the best actors that are able to balance both, like a Robin Williams, are the type of actors that I think could bring home an Academy Award.
Deluxe 15 is asking, hey guys, been watching for about a year now. Thanks so much. I was just wondering, do you think they will use TV's Arrow and Flash in a Justice League movie? No, they're going to keep those universes separate. Hi, Amazing AMC. Do you think we'll ever see Spidey catch Uncle Ben's killer in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 or 3? I think they've moved on from that storyline. What do you guys think?
yeah, I think he got. Didn't he get busted in the first episode? I mean, in Amazing Spider-Man 1,
No, he found a guy he thought was the guy, but I don't think it ended up being the guy. I think it ended with him kind of hunting for him, but I don't think they're going to go back to it.
I like revenge stories. I like redemption. I would love to see that happen, but I don't know if they'll waste time in the upcoming movies really delving
if
into that plot
anything,
line.
they do it in the very first scene of
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 and just get taken care of.
Let's see. Last one is going to be, let's see. Why do actors put themselves, this comes from YJL, who writes, why do actors put themselves into pain to lose weight to fit into certain roles, i.e. Matthew McConaughey for Dallas Buyers Club, Christian Bale, and Curtis Jackson in Things Fall Apart? They like the story, I guess, and they just want to be a part of it. I mean, if you can do it right and do it healthy and do it under a doctor's supervision, which they've done, then and they just think it would really get them some notoriety, doing something a little bit different, or they just really like the role, and to do it, they got to do that. I don't think it's that big of a deal, really. Schnepp, what do you think?
Well, I think for the actor, it's the challenge of inhabiting this character, this role. I think that's what true actors, they'll take that on. They'll gain that weight. They'll lose that weight. They'll put on the makeup. They'll become a different person, and that's what acting is. So, I don't think it's the best actors that you get who can truly do that.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron?
I think it's about commitment. I also think some actors are method actors.
Right,
and in order
right.
to really feel their character or establish their character and build that world, whatever they have to do to prepare to play that role, sometimes losing or gaining weight is part of becoming that character. And I respect anyone that's willing to do that, because believe me, when Matthew McConaughey read that script, he knew he was going to have to drop some weight, but that's the choice that he made because he wanted to play the role. He was that committed to doing so.
Yeah.
All right, folks, that'll do it for us. We've run out of time. Thanks so much for joining us. And hey, listen, for those of you who did not know, tomorrow night on Thursday night, we're doing something pretty special. We are actually starting live streaming at 6:30 tomorrow night Pacific Standard Time. We are going to be live streaming from the red carpet world premiere of Need for Speed, with the new Aaron Paul film with Dominic Cooper, Michael Keaton, Scott Mescudi.
Imogen Poots.
Imogen Poots. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you join us tomorrow night, live stream starting at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 9:30 p.m. on the East Coast, so make sure you join us for that. And listen, lots of great films playing in AMC theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video, and you'll find links to our Stitcher and our iTunes. And don't forget to click subscribe and become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. I want to thank once again Miss Erin Darling. Erin, where can people find you online?
Twitter, Erin A. Darling, Facebook, Erin Darling fan page, and YouTube, Erin Ashley D. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys.
Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me at Twitter, John Schnepp, and at Instagram, John Schnepp, and I'll see you guys later.
And you can find me on the various social media channels, just at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name's John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.